Report Builder is an authoring tool that you can use with SQL Server 2012 to publish reports to a SharePoint library, a report server, or the local computer. In this video, I'll show you how to use Report Builder against SQL Server 2012.
Now to use Report Builder, we'll go and open Visual Studio 2010. And now we'll select New Project from the Start page. And we'll select Report Server Project. And now from the Solution Explorer, right-click on Reports and click Add New Report. And this brings up the report wizard. Click on Next. And now we select the data source. We're going to give it a name of Data Source 1. It's Microsoft SQL Server. And for a connection string, we'll click on the Edit button. We'll specify the SQL Server name. We'll select the AdventureWorks database. And you should test the connection just to make sure. And you can see it succeeded. Click on OK. And now with our data source selected, we'll make it a shared data source and we'll click on Next. And now we can use Query Builder or we can enter our query string directly. So click on Query Builder. We'll have a quick look at Query Designer. Okay, so Query Designer allows you to select a number of different options to create your query, including importing a SQL file and so on. We know which tables we're going to use. In fact, we're going to use a view, and we'll select all the columns from that view. We'll select star from the salesperson, and we'll click on OK. Click Next. We'll select a tabular format. And for the groups, we'll select last name, and we see a little preview of where that's going to go in our report. And for details, we'll select the sales year to date, and now click Finish. We'll give the report a name, a descriptive name, Sales YTD. Click Finish. And now our report is open in design mode. Let's expand the document workspace. And now we can see our tabular formatted report, and we can preview it. And there's our very simple report. Now to add more objects, let's go back to design mode. You click on Toolbox, and in the Toolbox you have a number of items similar to other reporting tools such as Power Pivot or Power View. You have the text box, line, table, matrix, rectangle, list, image. You can also insert a subreport, a chart, gauge, map, data bar, sparkline, and indicator. You take these and add them to your report by clicking and holding the mouse down and dragging them over to the report. And then you select which option you're going to use and you set it. And that is our introduction to Report Builder.
These days, with the introduction of .NET Framework 4.5, having our WCF services perform operations asynchronously is often as easy as using the async and await keywords. However, prior to this, there was still an asynchronous pattern available for the backend services themselves in WCF, and these might still be appropriate in certain particular use cases. So let's go ahead and see what's involved in doing this. Now, it's important to note when we are working with asynchronous service operations, we're not talking about asynchronous client calls. So we're not talking about code in the client to go ahead and call the service asynchronously. We'll see an instance of that later in the video too, but it's important to differentiate between service operations on the server side that are implemented in an asynchronous approach. And let's see what's involved in doing that. Initially, we might have had a non-asynchronous operation, such as this one, where we would go ahead and define in the service interface the type of operation based on the inputs that would come in and the results that would come back. And inside of the service, we might go ahead and implement that directly too. But to implement an asynchronous operation, we use the operation contract, of course, as we've always done. But this time we set the async pattern property to be true. And we go ahead and define our operation using the same name that we might have had before, but we prepend it with the word begin. And we have an additional method on the interface that ends with the word end, and that's the matching partner for the initiation operation. So the end one will go ahead and return the final return type. It needs to take in an async result so that it will ultimately get called, and the begin operation returns that async result that will get passed into the end operation.